don't tell me which side is it. Am I doing landscape right now? Am I doing portrait? I don't know. You don't tell me, do you? Ah, YouTube, please. Why? Well, I'm gonna have to keep it that way. Let me have a look. No, 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 no. I want to see if I'm live. Why do you mean it's yeah, well, it's the wrong way round. What do you mean it's live? It's the wrong way round. Yeah, well, it's never the mind. Wrong way round. I can't do it differently, can I? It's the wrong way round. Retouch, flip, blah blah blah. I can't do it differently, can I? It's the wrong way round. Retouch, flip, blah blah blah. Okay. Sorry about that. We're back. Technical difficulties. We're gonna stop here. Yeah. So welcome to today's live. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical issue to start with. I just never know how to get the right rotation because it doesn't tell me. It says orientation is locked, rotate device back. Do I do that? If I do, it's not good because it's supposed to be landscape. Yeah, landscape. I don't want it like this. Anyway, sorry about that. We're back here and today we're gonna be talking about the elephant in the room again. But we need to, like I said before, we can't bury our head in the sand like an ostrich because just because we're not seeing what's happening around us doesn't mean our butt is not gonna get kicked. We need to see our surroundings to prepare for what's happening. And what's happening right now? AI here, AI there, AI everywhere. You might have heard that a lot of people have been laid off due to AI. It doesn't seem that it's something that's going to disappear soon. I mean, some people say that it's a bubble and it's gonna burst. So it's all just hype. And I'm inclined to say that it's a possibility because in my own experience with AI, it's not flawless. It makes a lot of mistakes. It hallucinates. And if you suspend your mental capacity and just outsource everything to AI, you realize in the end you come up with a lot of garbage. You really have to have somebody to keep checking, verifying. So AI on its own, yeah, I don't know. But of course, there's a lot of money being pumped into AI because people think, oh yeah, that's the way forward. We're not going to be needing a lot of humans, and I can't. We can't disagree with that. I mean, the way the world works, companies work. Bottom line, you want to be making money, profit. That's the way the world works. And a simplified way of making money is you earn a lot and you spend less. That's the profit. And then it makes sense then that instead of paying for humans, you get AI which doesn't need sleep, doesn't need sick days, doesn't even need holidays, and sometimes, not often, I mean often, but not always, is smarter than a human. So what can we do? It's a no-brainer. So knowing that, we might be expecting AI to replace us in a lot of ways. So what do we do? Do we just stay there and wait until it happens? Or, like I would say, defense, no, offense is the best offense. So before that happens, or if it's happened, well, we now have to deal with the damage. But if it happens, how do we deal with it and try and take advantage of this AI wave rather than just being left behind and who knows, becoming destitute while the opportunities are there, but we just don't want to see them because we don't like them ideologically or so on and so forth. So this paradigm shift is happening. It's not coming, it's there. So what do we do? Now, I'm not going to say that it's easy. It's not. And there's a lot of mental models that we have to release. And anything that is a mental model that we've been running, like a program we've been running day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out, it's difficult to get out of it. It's normal. However, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do something about it. That's not all I want. I want my Rethink with Rudiano logo, even if it's the other way around. You have to learn how to read the other way around. Anyway, so what can you do? Well, you have to be aware of those mental models. And there's two that come to mind. There's more, but the two that I was thinking of today are learned helplessness, and the second one, I think I've coined it myself. It's called, well, I've coined it the Funhouse Mirror Syndrome. Funhouse Mirror Syndrome. So just to give you a little synopsis, we'll come back to that later on, but the Funhouse Mirror Syndrome is, when you go to a fair and there's these mirrors that distort your reflection. So it makes you taller and thinner or shorter, wider, and all sorts of other shapes. So it's not your actual reflection. It distorts your reflection. And the world of work does that to you. I'll come back to that later. But first of all, learned helplessness. Now, if you think about, from your youth up, you went to nursery, you went to school. And what's the school structure? You've got a whole class, one teacher, a set of rules, exams, curriculum, everything is just, it's all structured in a very rigid way, really. And even the exams, you're supposed to know the same answers. There are answers that are going to give you a good grade. Other answers, they might be well thought out. I mean, I don't know about you, but I love those memes. Well, they're not really memes, but they're pictures of exam papers by kind of divergent students. And they're not the actual answer that is expected. But when you think about it, it's very interesting what they say. I would have given them not a pass grade, but I would have given them something for thinking laterally like that. But we're not supposed to, because structure, rigid, yeah. So we've been in this kind of structure for as long as we live, from our youth up, and then we go to work, and work is about the same, really. There's a structure. You've got your mission, the mission statement, the mission values of the company, and you've got somebody at the top. You've got the CEO, you've got management, middle management. It's always the same structure. You follow rules set by somebody else. You've got this rigid structure, and you've got repetitive tasks, routine work, and you're not really allowed to step out. If you step out, sometimes it actually makes sense to step out to solve a problem. But when you do that, it comes back on you, and then you realize, actually, I should have just kept my head down, not actually being really helpful as long as I'm following the rigid rules. That's the way we've been fed, you know. This is the philosophy that we've been imposed and that we have to follow if we want to stay in work as long as we can. So imagine we've been doing that, we've been like that, and now we are actually being laid off, left, right, center, even though we've been following the rules. But the rules are the only thing we know. But now we've got this new world where actually the people that were, you know, because we all know those people that were not fitting at school. They were just like so neurodivergent that they couldn't learn, they just drop out very early. Did not like the way that school worked. Just didn't gel with that. And a lot of those actually started their own companies and started to thrive because not because they were smarter or less smart or nothing to do with that. It's just that they were pushed from a younger age than most of us to have reality checks, and to they were able to experiment and to see the world for what it is rather than from the cage that was built for us, that at one point possibly in the 60s, 70s, I don't know, 80s, was a good replica of what the world of work was. But now increasingly it's nothing like what the world of work is. What we learn at school, what we learn even at university, now people are saying, I am in the middle. I've heard that some students, I am in the middle of my degree and looking at the AI world and everything else, I'm asking myself, is it worth it to carrying on in in my degree, because it feels like it's gonna be irrelevant by the time I'm finished. Now the answer to that is, in my opinion, carry on, because it's better to finish something than have half of a master's degree, half of a BA, and just go straight into the world. Better to finish it. But it is a concern. It is a concern. We have to adapt, and we have to adapt quick. But we can adapt. It's going to be difficult for some of us that have been in this routine, this structure for a long time, but it is possible. We need to unlearn that model and just experiment with the new possibilities that are out there. Because the learned helplessness, what it does, because we don't know of any system, we refuse to look at another system. We refuse to embrace the idea that if it's possible for us to be a freelancer, it's possible to start a side hustle, it's possible to step out of this model and find something else that actually would work. It is possible, but because we can't see it, we refuse to explore it. So the first way would be to explore. Have you explored about what AI is offering right now? There's agents. Now, a little let's take 5 minutes to have a little bit of a few definitions about AI. So we've got the large language model. I think that was the first buzzword that AI came up with. The likes of ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, they're all large language models on which chatbots are based. So they're basically masters of language. They were trained on data of languages from different actually languages. I was quite pleased and very surprised that I tried to get I think it was Chat GPT. I tried to do something in French, it it managed, and then I wrote something in Guadeloupean Creole, and I wanted it to translate that into English, and I didn't know it could do it. It did it. I was like, wow. So do you experiment? Experiment. There's so many possibilities. Too many. Just need to open our eyes to them. But what I was going to say, so large language model with the advent of ChatGPT. Basically, I can't really explain how it works. It's not like the model understands what it says, like it's got a thought and then tries to put it into words like we do. It's more like it's been trained on how sentences work, and it spits out something in a pattern that it thinks is going to be articulate, and 9 times out of 10 it's very articulate and it's on point. I don't know how, but it works. So that's large language models. Then we've got uh, AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. I think that's what it is, that we're trying to find if we can do that. And basically what it is it's still in the future. There's a lot of debate about that, but it's still in the future. It seems that we're thinking that at one point AI, large language models as well, will be able to tell you anything, accurately on all sorts of subjects. Will be an expert at everything. Now, at the moment, they appear to be, but they don't really reason. I mean, that again, that's up for debate, but it's a bit difficult. Sometimes they hallucinate, and you try to engage with them back and forth and to make them see the error of their ways. Sometimes they say things that make you think that, oh yeah, they understood what you meant, but they haven't. I give you an example, plucked out of thin air. It's not exactly what happened, but let's say that I asked ChatGPT or Gemini how many R's in strawberries. That's a very common one that we used in benchmark. It's changing now, but let's say I've asked it how many R's in strawberry, and it says two, and I'm like, can you spell it out? STRAWBER. It does that, and then I say how many again? How many hours in strawberries? And it goes, sorry, two. And you say, no, you can see that it's 3 hours. And you say, oh, sorry, apologies. And it says three. And then you carry on the conversation on something else. And then you come back to how many in strawberries. And it goes again to two. And it's like, obviously, there's something not quite right there. But anyway, so we're thinking, hopefully, that at one point it will be able to reason and understand things logically, and say, in a conversation, would be able to build upon what you've just said and be able to make those connections. Maybe it does already, because I'm just using the free parts. Maybe it does on the upper echelons models, the paid version. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, from what I can gather, we're not there where it's actually better than humans at reasoning, logic, and everything on all subjects. It's not yet. So that's AGI. And then further along the timeline, we're thinking possibly there would be ASI, artificial super intelligence. Basically, that the model will be better, far better than any humans on any subject. And of course, it opens a very nice world of possibility, but also very scary, especially because apparently there's been experiments where we see the AI models actually being deceptive, not just hallucinating and being riddled with errors, but actually on purpose misleading humans. I don't know. That's scary, but it's quite weird though, because even though that is happening, it's still a race. It's a race. The people that are saying that, oh yeah, we find it very dangerous and very concerning, they are the one continuing to get to AGI and ASI first, because the incentive, if they get to that place first, they're going to get more market share, they're going to get more money, and they're just thinking, let's get the money first and then we figure out the rest after. Typical of human. Anyway, so what was I saying? So that's the definition of a couple of definitions around AI at the minute. But it's good to explore this and see how we can position ourselves to see how we can benefit from the AI wave. I mean, have you explored it yet? Do you use it? Do you know about the agents? Actually, I need to look into the agents. So, because typically with LLMs, you have to ask one task at a time to get the best results. If we ask too many things at once, it just completely, it doesn't tell you that it doesn't understand. It doesn't tell you that it's having problems. It just spits out complete garbage, takes one question and forgets the other, and then the other is a mess. So you have to normally do this linearly. One question, okay, you've done that. Okay, from then on other question, etc. But with an agent, you could give them complicated tasks. Say, okay, one, research this topic. Two, look into that. Three, find this. Four, post it on social media. You can do things like that, apparently. So I'm gonna have to be exploring that. But that's something to do. Explore. Don't get left behind. Just in case this is not a bubble and it doesn't burst, and it actually ushers in a world of opportunities that we don't want to just be missing out because we don't like the fact that it's changing. I don't like change either, but change is part of life. Without change, it means that something's dead, something stale, something stagnant. It's not vibrant. When there's change, unfortunately, even though it makes us, yeah, it's upheaval, we don't like it, but there's a lot of opportunities out of change. Things become alive. So, learned helplessness, we can get out of this by exposing ourselves to the world, exposing ourselves to what's going on, researching rather than just closing our eyes and just saying, no, I do not like this, therefore it doesn't exist. Yes, it does exist. Now, coming back to the funhouse mirror effect, because that's another thing. It's tied to learned helplessness, really, that we're inheriting with from the world of work. Funhouse mirror syndrome. Incidentally, funhouse mirror syndrome is, oh no, sorry, oh, I'm back. Sorry, I was trying to get to the chat, but for some reason it just so chemistry says I'm listening. Thank you very much. I hope I'm making sense. I'm gonna have to change my setup a little bit so that I can see the comments, because I don't seem to have it down yet. Anyway, so carrying on, the funhouse mirror syndrome. I hope it's gonna take on. So, like I said, it's when you go to a fair and there's those mirrors that distort your view, your reflection. They don't reflect back what you really are. And I was going to say, incidentally, this concept is the basis for my next short story, which is dropping out next, what is it? On the 24th. What is the 24th? I think it's next Thursday, is it? Anyway, next week. So it's gonna be on rethinkcreative.online. So rethinkcreative.online. And I think I'm calling it at the minute working title. I might change it, but it's at the minute it's gonna be called Jerry's Funhouse Mirror Syndrome, something like that. But anyway, so it's that principle that the world doesn't reflect back what you are. It's reflecting a distorted view of yourself. And if you only see that distorted view of yourself, you think that's the way you look, and that's not the way you look. Now let me expand on that. The way world works, coming back to the bottom line of the company, they want to make profit. Therefore, they have to spend less than they're earning, more revenue than expenses. Now, the staff is an expense, and it's a very high expense with all the things that you have to pay. Like, for example, in Britain, so you have to pay for the wage, which is a big wage, really. Plus, you have to pay for a part of social, what do you call it again? Oh, I forgot. Why do I forget? Basically, social kind of security for the employee. You have to pay part of it, and the employee pays another part of it through his wage. So there's that. And obviously, if you have health benefits that you put onto the package for the employee, there's that as well that comes from the company's pocket. So it's expensive. So it is in the interest of the company to, even though they give you an attractive package, that they don't give you what you're worth. They'd rather give you a little bit less than what you're worth so they can extract the most value out of you so that it goes towards the bottom line. That's the way it works. They want to maximize their profit. They have to do it one way or another. And so what does that mean? That means that typically the salary that you will get is not really your own value. It's just a little bit underneath what your value is at. And in fact, the incentive, even if they give you a salary that matches your value, because there's a market value and then there's a company value, and you try to make sure that it's not below, that you get the right market value. Even the market value, let's go a little bit deeper. If you get the salary that is your value, and you go for that company, but then there's this perverse things that happen. Imagine that you're super good at your job, like outstandingly good at your job. Are you going to be promoted because you're so outstandingly good? Possibly not. Do you know why? This is what could happen. So, say they promote you. So now they have to take more money out of their budget to, give you that promotion, which they might not. Actually, they might give you a title, but no, no salary increase. It's happened before. Again, bottom line, they have to spend less than they earn. Now, let's say that they're very good and they give you a promotion and they give you a bump in salary. But now, the job that you've just left, they need to hire a replacement. what are the chances that they're going to find somebody that is going to fill your shoes well? They're going to try to find somebody that they're not going to pay as much as you. I mean, how much as much as you when you were in that job. If they manage to get somebody, it may well be that that person is going to be way over their head, and they're going to have to hire a second person. So they're going to have two-person to fill your old job, plus give you a bump in salary. Uh, it is difficult. It might be that they have the budget for. If they do, great. But imagine doing that in 10 times in an enterprise. Find those rock stars and really reward them their value. That's a lot of money. Then you have to replace them. Those 10, you have to give them their bump in salary. Possibly um possibly get two to replace those. That's a lot of money. So no wonder they would rather keep you where you are, pay you just a little under your value, or maybe just your value, but keep you there, especially if you're a rock star. Keep you there. Make sure that you continue to to crank out those numbers for them, and they're gonna try and not let it go to your head. So they're going to say, yeah, we're very pleased with you, but we'll show you can do better, and put the put the what do you call it, the target higher and higher and higher, which normally is what happens anyway, so that they can get the most value possible out of you. So the conclusion is, if you've been ingrained with that mentality, that philosophy, that practice for years, decades, you come out of the world of work not knowing your value. Actually, you come out with an under estimation of your own value. Perverse. But I think you can see that is a possibility. I can't be mad. I can't be crazy. I see it play out. They don't really want you to wake up to your own value, because that helps them. That helps the bottom line. That's the way the system is run and works, unfortunately. So, the conclusion is, we need to step out of that employee mentality where we've got to, well, we don't need to, but it's good to be prepared for the eventuality that we may have to step out of the world of work, where our value is not actually, our real value is not acknowledged, and we are kept in that little cage, so we don't see for ourselves the possibilities that are out there. We need to see them. And I think I'm going to stop here, but next video I'm going to deep deeper into what can we do then. How can we step out of that learned helplessness and see what the world is, see the possibilities the world has now to offer us with AI, instead of just the nightmares that it could, we don't know, it might lead to. And in a nutshell, it's going to be dream, but dream strategically. So thank you for staying with me for that long. And I'm going to remind you, so next week, on the 24th, check out rethinkcreative.online for my next short story. And I'll also, next Wednesday, either do a live about this, or if I have the time, I'll do an actual edited video about how to dream strategically in this new world that is upon us. So thank you very much. Reflect, redefine, rise. Ciao.